We got some foundation disc golf drama, but not in the way you might expect. What's up, degenerates? It's the disc golf world. I'm Jefferson, and you heard that right. We're talking the bogey bros, Hunter and Trevor. Throw a dash of Brody in and enough con man as you can handle. Like Swiss and I, the foundation gang is often seen online as you either love us or you hate us. I'll be honest, I don't watch disc golf content outside of the things keeping me up to date on the professional scene. Sorry to all my bros out there making vids, but man, when you spend your life doing this shit, you don't really want to watch more disc golf. But yeah, a few times I've been known to yell in my car arguing a take while Grip Black played in the background. That being said, I haven't watched a main channel video from Foundation since I asked to collab in my JK disc golf era. And I want to reiterate, the reason for that is only because I don't watch that type of content. And I'm only bringing that up to admit I never watched the first season of Imposter. Whoa, before you call me a hater, that has changed, and I'll say it was well worth the watch, because it makes me appreciate the second season so much more. Please go give it a watch if you haven't already. If you're not going to do that, stay tuned and I'll break down why you should, but more importantly, how Foundation Disc Golf is changing the game. Can't forget about that major controversy, but we'll get there when we get there. Calling Season 1 a reality show might have been a stretch. This time around though, absolutely deserving that title. The production level went absolutely crazy for the standards they are known for, which in itself is how they changed the game. They're showing this concept is a bigger deal than a typical YouTube video, but gives a foundation, see what I did there, for this format to be put on a larger scale. Think of a 50 or 100K payout with 24/7 cameras for a week-long game show style, all surrounding disc golf. If you like the sound of that, hit your boy up, because that's been my goal since I was a teenager. It would make me a total hypocrite if I didn't say I loved what the Foundation guys did, because this is exactly how I thought the sport could grow better. Professional disc golf can only go so far, and I don't think it does a good job pulling potential new players. It's great for those who already play, but not for the frolfers just chucking frizz. I think that an opportunity to show randoms and casuals that you can earn big money by throwing a disc might entice someone to try. From the outside, disc golf looks easy. People that have never gripped a disc think they can throw 300 feet and drill 50 footers with ease, but once they try it, quickly find out that's not the case. Most usually turned away because of it, but the few that stick through become lifelong fans of the game. The hard part is getting that first disc in someone's hands. The style of a reality or game show is hella more entertaining. That might be a different medium that gets people to pull the trigger and start playing. Getting personality and storylines to shine is something that has been hard to do right now on the professional side, so this gives an alternative. Or imagine this, play Imposter with the pros. Throw a big name in there, or let's be real, Simon Lizotte, then a couple fringe players and give them a chance to get some screen time. This is a good balance between pushing the top talent with others that couldn't get attention otherwise. Think about it. Most live rounds, you see about 12 players and hear from 4. If you're watching post-produced, it's even less. There are over 80 tour card holders. Most will never see any camera time. In my opinion, a huge problem. I think there needs to be a way for the bottom players to get exposure, not only for their sake, but for the professional scene as a whole. You need the fan base to be invested into the entire product, which includes all the touring players, not just the winners. You might be thinking, that won't make them any money, except I think it's the opposite. Once you get 80 players to be marketable, then there is so much more reasons to sell. Little tangent, but I think this is an opportunity that the Imposter Series is exposing, and it needs to be taken advantage of. I think it's entirely possible in the next couple of years we see this exact series on an off-season DGN exclusive. My mind goes right to the Ultimate Fighter style. Not the combat part, but a competition show that tests not only disc golf skills, but other aspects that are essential to live on tour for the young guns. Think about a challenge showing what it's like to sleep in your car, get ready at a Planet Fitness, navigating a new area, and so much more unique ways that show off the life of a professional. That's how you show off the so-called what makes disc golf different than other sports. Because you hear that phrase all the damn time without any explanation, but in my opinion, it comes down to the lifestyle so many choose just to throw a frisbee for a living. Before Imposter goes behind a paywall, I'm going to break down Season 2 and why it was so great, so hopefully you go watch and support. I feel obligated to do this, so I'll give you a quick Brody warning, but I also think he plays his role super well. He's someone that the audience can actively root against. He's a polarizing player, but the best part is he's not afraid to speak his mind, so it makes it very entertaining. When I watched the first season for research, my favorite parts were when Brody would go full rage monster on Ams just for being Ams. Without that, it wouldn't have been nearly as entertaining. I mean, dude is a veteran game show contestant after all. Now that's out the way, let's get into Imposter.
Each one of you has been hand-selected to be a part of this series. As of right now, all of you are on the same team, working together for a share of the $6,000 grand prize. That's about to change. At least one of you will become an imposter. You will be tasked with making sure the team does not reach their goal. Each round the goal is missed, an imposter will get a bonus from the pot. Welcome to the Imposter Disc Golf Reality Series Season 2, presented by Discmania.
You know how I know this is a big deal? House of Discs is giving more money to this than half their players next season. If you've never played the game Imposter before, essentially a person is chosen as the imposter, and their job is to secretly sabotage the round so the team doesn't reach the goal, which is dictated at the beginning of the round. That's important because each time the goal is not met, the pot for the imposter gets bigger. However, if the team hits the goal, then the money stays. This season does have a twist. Before we can get into that, let's learn who the contestants are. Of course, Trevor from Foundation, and spoiler, last season's imposter, and the beloved pot stirrer, Brody Smith. The people's pick, the thumber-loving Gary, would make his return as well. Not sure if he's technically Foundation or not, but you probably remember his face from Tour Life and Debate Night, although he does have a channel of his own. Then you have Grant, or known online as G-Star. He makes sick graphics as you can see here, but also has some dope videos of his own. Joshua Miller joining this year. If you don't know Jay Millie, who am I kidding? You've seen the man's work. Subscriber count speaks for itself. The Shorts King himself, the loud and proud Bear Bite. If you're looking to make content, you picked the right dude. Robbie C plays board games, which makes him an early threat. Thankfully, he's got all the tips he needs. Blue-haired Carlos Rodriguez. He's here. Well, I don't know why, but he's given a reason real quick, becoming the
assistant imposter, assistant to the regional imposter. Man, it's kind of tempting.
This basically means he's still on the good guys team, but he gets a little side cash for himself every time the imposter wins, giving him an incentive to sabotage the squad. I'm assuming that's the buffer in case the imposter gets voted out too early. The group was split into two teams, those being Brody Smith, Jay Millie, Bear Bite, and Grant versus the team of Trevor, Gary, Carlos, and Robbie C. This set up the first challenge, which had each team tossing into a visionary net from various distances. The objective was to make all the shots in the shortest amount of time. Losers would face an unannounced punishment later. Already, you can see the huge level up from the previous season, totally qualifying this as a reality show they expected. From player introductions to cuts back and forth, interviews told the story, personalities were able to shine, and of course, the drama. Round 1 would use the same teams, now playing alternate shot, but the scores would be combined. The goal to hit, 5 under. Before any shots, obviously there was an ad read, but honestly, I gotta give major props for how natural they were the entire series, not taking up time or being obnoxious at all. There's already been like 4 different sponsors, yet I never had to skip forward. If I was a company looking to spend marketing money, I think this is the best use of that money. You're getting direct focused attention from a popular influencer or a well-integrated reoccurring part of the series like the Vessi walkout. Since we're on the topic of personalities, I want to add I think this season was better because the crew wasn't afraid to speak up. Oftentimes getting into small batches of commotion which made for good content, especially when there was actually some heat behind it. Adding footage from the Airbnb was awesome as well, creating more of that reality show vibe, and it worked. I really enjoyed seeing the thought process from each player. Oh yeah, and remember that punishment from the first challenge? Yeah, that was another great addition.
It's 2 a.m. The warehouse boys are about to find out what their punishment actually is. Don't worry guys, just a quick little punishment, you'll be right back to sleeping.
Okay.
Challenge is simple. All you have to do to go back to bed is make 10 20-footers in a row.
I thought it might be fun if we stopped in after each episode and I talked about who I thought the imposter was, what I'm seeing, and kind of just going through it as a fan would. And because I got no one else to talk to about it, I chose you. Off the bat, I thought it was pretty funny that Brody's saying he's not going to take a leader role and then basically right out the jump just started telling people what to do. Now, I don't blame him because I think his knowledge is a lot better than most of the people playing, but that doesn't come off great through everybody. Robbie C even makes a mention of it that he doesn't understand that AMs just aren't that great. And yeah, sometimes he just yells at AMs for being AMs, but you know what? That's Brody and I like it because it's more entertaining than if we just sat in silence and it was encouraging after hitting trees all the time. The other funny thing to me was Bear Bite being Bear Bite if you've ever met him, being confident and yelling, and I love him for that. But then to go out and throw 3 shots immediately into the ground, probably not what he's expecting, or a little bit suspicious. But I don't think he would give up on hole 13 if he was the imposter, but there was a few people that I'm a little bit sus of. The first one I have some thoughts about is Grant and him missing putts, although after the warehouse scene, I don't know if that's the smartest conclusion yet, just because it seems like he's not the greatest putter. So we'll put him on the back burner for now. The next you could talk about is Gary and a few mistakes. Some wanted to point out some maybe not the best disc selection at certain points, but we're going to have to keep our eyes on that. Trevor, Jay Millie, even Robbie C, not getting a whole lot of time to show off anything too bad. Now, I also don't think episode 1 you're going to see too much play from the imposter. You're just going to let it play out. There is no incentive, I think, to blow the game up this early. Just throw good enough shots and let other people make mistakes. So for that, I'm going to cast my vote. Since I have to make my selection of the imposter, I'm going to go with Gare Bear just because he's the most suspicious, I guess, based on the 1 episode, 1 round that I have. So, yeah, there you go. Let's go to episode 2. The second round was alt shot, but once you get through everyone, a different order could be chosen. The goal was 4 over par, but before the round, they had to see what holes would be played. Brody and Jay Millie would shift through various putting stations. Each made putt would be them playing from a short pad and a miss from the long. In the end, it would be 13 shorts, which helped them smash the goal. Hunter even calling it the greatest round of imposter ever. Each player carrying their weight except for a few moments. Not many shots turned heads. Could be to avoid being the weakest link, as that is where the votes seem to be going. Back to Rip's Ranch for the vote, and my favorite part, the shit talking. At the very end of that episode, Jay Millie was told that there is an imposter or an imposter team still left, and that gives away a little bit of information. I'm assuming they're referring to Carlos as he's the assistant to the imposter, and it still gives them a sense of, oh shit, someone's here to get out. But to us, the audience, now we know the imposter? If that is the case, then I'm just going to stick with my Gary pick. There would just make no sense to switch that now. We're just going to ride that one strong to the very end. Robbie C, I don't think was the imposter. The only sort of evidence I have to suggest that was when he was saying he should make the medium-sized putts more so than Grant in that one episode, because then he would be proving himself to the people, and then but you'd really be just doing that to 40 chess them in the future. But I don't think that was the case. I know he plays a lot of board games, but I think that would just not be the most advantageous for himself. So I guess with that, we're going to go to the second to last episode and where the drama really gets going. The crew once again voted Carlos for the badge of honor. This time he was tasked to dye a disc that looked like an expert did it. The rest of the peeps then voted which one they thought Carlos did. Each correct answer gave them a benefit they'd be able to use during the round. The group was forced to split into 3 teams this time. They would then be playing alt shot with 1 team going at a time. If that wasn't hard enough, they would be playing New London. But don't worry, the goal is only 3 net birdies. They were also given 2 benefits for guessing Carlos's die. This allowed them to use the max distance stick to move a putt closer, which they were gonna need. The challenge proved to be extremely difficult very quickly, and before you knew it, it got out of hand. Although the group had a chance to earn some birdies back. That didn't end up mattering, earning the imposter $500. That of course makes me feel bad, but nowhere close to the level of anger I felt when Robbie C was shown footage from the round. Moving forward, why would contestants talk game if it may possibly get them eliminated? If Trevor was the imposter and this was his way of getting a potential safe person out, I don't think he should be penalized. Now, with that being said, I wouldn't mind if Robbie was offered information that took away from the pot like they do later. Or if producers wanted to tell him off camera to provide drama, that'd be fine too, as long as you tell Robbie to go make a big deal of it. I'm sure the idea was for the sake of entertainment, but it just felt in poor taste with the reality show vibes. After Robbie C being shown that footage, I'm left on tilt here, so I don't have a whole lot of things to say. I'm pulling out my phone, not even the camera for this. That's how upset I am at that moment. Plus, I still think it's Gary, so I don't want to put up the tripod to say a whole lot of nothing. Next episode. At this point, I was fully invested, so it was quite fun watching the meltdown after finding out there was still an imposter. Round 4, the crazy caddy is back, having to be used until all the spins are gone. 1 person per hole, the goal to hit is 7 under. And it only took until hole 2 for mom and dad to start fighting. Hunter's words, not mine, but it definitely gave off sibling argument vibes. Some that would cause drama.
That's enough.
Are we just,
advice.
My advice was crazy? If he knew how to throw a sky roller, he could get something close to the basket.
If he actually lands, it's going to go all the way back deep into the woods anyways.
No, it wouldn't.
You're right, it would just stop on the dime.
See how the kids react with mom and dad fighting.
Well, it's just when Trevor says my ideas are dumb,
That was a dumb idea.
I think it's Brody. I think it's 1,000% Brody. He's made weird shot suggestions the whole time, and I was just kind of writing it off because he does that sometimes, but like, I don't know what to think anymore.
I don't know why I think this is so funny. Maybe because it reminds me so much of my little brother and I fighting when we were kids. Certainly gave me a good chuckle.
Well, it's up to Trevor.
Is there a hole? Is there a hole where we'd prefer to use it rather than this?
Don't look to me. Talk to Trevor.
Trev, what do you think?
I have terrible ideas.
My favorite episode so far, and I think that comes from my investment into the players and the genuine care I have for some of them. Absolute banger. After the round, they had a tech disc challenge, the winner earning immunity. An intense battle between Carlos and Brody ended with the blue-haired man victorious. I thought the game talk at this point was great. This is the stuff I love. Then they upped it with cameras in the car and it made it even better. Just perfect. Best episode yet by far. Encompassing, of course, disc golf, but a story that makes you forget that this is about people throwing frisbees because it's so much more than that. All we need is Mr. Beast to catch on and we got ourselves a viral moment. Start with saying hole 2 and the whole drama between Trevor and Brody really felt like some sibling rivalry where you could tell they were just fed up from probably being in the same Airbnb for so long, but it's just because you're friends and you're so close and that you get on each other's nerves, and obviously someone's deliberately lying to each other, or they're not, but they're so worried about it that it's getting in their own head. Very entertaining. Definitely got me fully invested and almost chuckling at points, and just how they treated each other at some point. Even Trevor saying it was toxic and wasn't even wanting to be a part of the vote. And that is what is, for audience members, fun to watch. And you could tell that the heart and the emotion and the genuine reactions are in there. Although I was kind of debating at some point when they were in the room where they actually being genuine, or if this was them being so fed up that they couldn't hold it back. The emotions just seemed so real that I was debating almost like, man, are they playing it up for the camera knowing this is great content, or is the emotions at this level really? I should also mention, I think that Trevor was right in that hole 2 scenario. Brody suggesting a huge turnover roller to Jay Millie, who is a good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he would ever look at a situation like that and think, yep, I'm going to throw a big over-the-top flippy roller, when I don't think he was too far away. It's downhill, and when you're in a situation like this, I feel like the forehand roller just makes more sense because you're throwing it right at the ground. At least you're in your mind, the miss is less. You don't think you can control it to a level, and if you put yourself within 100, 150 feet, the confidence level of throwing another forehand roller isn't that crazy, especially when you just got to put yourself inside the circle, and I'm confident that Jay Millie's abilities there are pretty good. That being said, I don't think Brody's the imposter either. I mean, I'm saying in this sense, pretty much the jump Gary, in my opinion, has been the imposter this whole long, and I'm going to look like an absolute idiot if that wasn't the case, but I'm really using that evidence that we were told not so long ago that there was one imposter left, and that where I'm just basing that off that's Carlos, and they were revealing that there was one already voted out, but they needed to still play along and needed some extra
influence drama, which is totally good for the content. I mean, I love it. It was part of what kept it entertaining throughout this series, because you got the reinvigorated arguments that would be hashed between the players, because every single episode you're being deceived, and you could tell people being weary of each other, and the anxiety levels, I'm sure, were at an all-time high, and it was absolutely good content. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I'm stoked to see the very last episode, and I already saw the title of being a scandal, and I'm kind of wondering what that's all about.
Fuck, man. That ending leaves you with a weird taste in your mouth. That being said, it's still definitely worth the watch. The emotions will hit you like a freight train. Drop in the comments how you feel about that controversial ending and what should have even happened. I'm not going to spoil the ending, so please go check out the full series if you haven't already. I want to give a big shout out to Hunter for fighting through that episode. You could tell it was disheartening, but the show must go on. In my opinion, this didn't take away from the entire show, and I'm looking forward to improvements Hunter's already alluded to. Overall, the Imposter Series was a great success and shows how disc golf can be packaged differently, possibly growing a new audience. I'm telling you, an Ultimate Fighter style show that prepares young up-and-comers to what tour is like and the winner getting a tour card, that's the type of stuff this show opens the door to, and I hope more people will take advantage. The disc golf world has our own ideas, and we'll get to those in the future, so if anyone is looking to get crazy, hit us up. I seriously can't remember the last time I've been locked to the couch for disc golf content, and I think our fan base is getting desperate for something new. Foundation has changed the game, now we just need more.